Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Ledwell and this is The Inspiration Show. Today on the show, my special guest is actually a fellow Australian, Dr. Galen Loven. How are you, Dr. Galen? How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks, Natalie. Galen is fine. It's
Galen?
shorter and easier to the point.
Okay, lovely. I'm happy with that. As all us Aussies do, we like to shorten everything so it's nice and easy to say.
Just don't call me Galley.
No, no, I won't do that. And even though you are Australian, you're like in Belgium or somewhere at the moment, right?
I am in Budapest.
Budapest, that's
Budapest,
right.
yes.
Yeah, awesome. Now, the reason that Galen and I are actually sharing this video with you today, and Galen is on the show, is that we have a really important project and campaign to talk to you about. But before we do that, why don't we, Galen, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your story, like, who you are and how you got involved in the work that you're doing now.
Well, I've been a serial entrepreneur all my life. I was raised on a farm in Canada, actually, a pig farm of all things. Actually, I was thinking about that today because it's important to our story. When I was really young, it was a turkey farm at first. And then we had a fire in the barn and we lost 1,000 head of turkey. And neighbors from everywhere just flocked to us, right? And helped save the farm.
Mm-hmm.
I'd forgotten all about that till today.
Right.
Then after that, my dad decided he'd had enough of turkeys, and we became hog farmers. I think I preferred the turkeys, actually.
Those are a bit more
So
low maintenance, aren't they?
exactly, exactly. So I've been traveling the world for years, and I've always looked for something to do in business that was meaningful, and that's extremely hard to do. Is find something where you can make money, but also make a contribution to the world. And it's only in the last 10 years that I've found the vehicle for that, which is Viva Community Networks. And what we do for a business is we build networks at a community level and then link them on a global scale. And we've been spending a lot of time doing this and bringing it along. And then we were working with some Rotary people up in Brisbane. And they mentioned that they've been raising money for farmers who are destitute. And I said, really, what's going on? And it turned out that unknown to most people in Australia, and this is really what got me incensed a couple of weeks ago when we talked about it, is nobody knows about it. I
No.
can't believe this. There's right now averaging one suicide every 4 days of young farmers in their 40s, 30s, and 40s who are just filled with despair. Now, Australians are a tough lot, right? And they're also well known for mobbing together to help their mates when they're in trouble. And it's something you're famous for around the world. And yet nothing's been happening to these people, and then they are filled with despair. And despair means you feel alone and abandoned, right? And then what's the point? And so when these farmers have been, and this has been going on now for maybe 2 or 3 years, and nobody wants to talk about it. And that shocked me because I said, why not, right? You're quite happy to report wars, terrorists and people killing each other and everything else. But the real tragedy right at home that's affecting, everybody, including your farm food supplies, is being ignored. And that just didn't seem right. So our company, Viva, invested in starting a crowdfunding campaign called Tuckerbox. Which seems, let's just put some food on the table. Let's show these people we care. And we're going to use the Rotary as the distributor of the money that we're raising because they know the families are in the communities and they can get behind this. So this is what this is all about, and it's urgent. It's just while we're talking, somebody probably committed suicide, and it's just shocking, really. And they leave behind children. And they leave behind their wives and of course, their relatives and parents, everything else, it just brings down everybody. And these farmers have been supported by local community stores and things, and they've been doing it quietly on the side. They're not even getting any recognition for this.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. And something needs to be done to sort this.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. To give you an example of how strange this is, we talked to a journalist this week, and he writes articles for an Australian magazine, sort of like a travel magazine. And he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "I had two of my mates living on stations who suicided in the last week." And you go, Hasn't anybody connected the dots, right?
Mm.
What's wrong? What has happened to us that we become so disconnected from our ability to do things that we allow this to go on? And
Yeah.
say, yes, well, I heard about it, or, gee, I remember seeing something about that, but I think it was an American television show.
Yeah.
Right? And that's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
I mean, and what we want to do today is really shine a light on exactly what's happening. Because so the reason that the farmers are doing it so tough right now is because we're back in drought again. Is that the case?
The drought's been going on for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And in particular, it's happening in Queensland and South Australia and the Southern Territories, down that area. It's just, and you'll see that on our website. We actually have the maps of where the droughts are the worst.
Yeah.
And because it's year after year after year, and in those areas there are a lot of small farmers who, of course, produce a lot of the organic food, which is something else most people don't realize, that Australia has more land producing organic food than any other country in the world by a big margin. But most of that organic food is being produced by small farmers, and they've been the most affected by the drought. So if those people that, your audience in the United States, see their organic food prices going up and they're wondering why, it's because their supply, Australia, is running out of supply.
Right.
But we're not about saving the farms, we're about saving the families.
Exactly. We're talking about the people here. And here's the thing, like, we are a tough nation.
You are.
Australia, the
You are.
environment there has always, from the very beginning, even when we were settled in the beginning, it's a very tough and unforgiving environment,
Yes.
in which, we're having to do the farming. And the thing is that it's not just the small farmers that we're talking about here. We're talking about, like, farmers that have had land in their families for generations.
Yes.
And now they feel that they're in this spot where it's like, okay, well, now it's my turn and I can't make this work.
Yes.
And so they find themselves stuck in a corner. And Australians, we are that tough that we don't talk about it. We never, we don't like to ask for handouts. That's
Yes.
a big thing of us. It's like we have to be
Yes,
self-sufficient.
absolutely. Yes.
And it's, for a bloke or for a man, to have to be vulnerable and to ask for support, and to even talk to anyone about it is a sign of weakness. So
Yes.
they find it very hard to share.
Yes.
So through, and I love the name Tucker Box, because in Australia, tucker means food.
Yes, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, what are and I know that you're working with Rotary to get the funds out there, but what exactly is Rotary planning on doing with the families? Are we talking about education? Are we talking about counseling?
No, all those programs are kind of in place. Those are government programs, right?
Right.
But the problem is that because these families have trouble putting food on the table, all that doesn't mean much, right?
Right.
And nobody's doing that part. Now Rotary is, and what they're doing is really clever. They are creating, they give coupons to these families, and the coupons are good in the local stores for things that they need, necessities. So they're supporting the local merchants as well as supporting the farmers at the same time. And so this first raise, I'm sure we're going to do far more than the little 100,000 that we have on the project right now. And so there'll be Tucker Box 1 and 2, 3, 4, and each time we do one, we will change the community of focus. So we'll use a different Rotary, we'll use Country Women's Association, maybe the Salvation Army, depending on the area. But $80,000 to $100,000 can make a difference in a single community.
Yeah.
So we don't want this to be diluted and waffled away with just little tiny bits that don't mean anything. We tend to make an impact. Now I know that your audience is a generous audience. I mean, they're about doing things, right? Yeah. And so this is an opportunity for them to make immediate difference. And we've set this crowdfunding campaign up so that we don't have to do $100,000 before we start distributing money. We can start distributing money now. Right? Yep. And it's a momentum transaction. And I know that besides brilliant people like yourself, we're already talking to other media people to get exposure in the local media. We're getting articles in magazines. The writer I was telling you about, he already checked with his editors and said, yes, we should be doing this. Why weren't we doing it before, right? Let's get this story out there. So we're going to mobilize Australians for themselves. That's the thing that we feel is our most important job. And we're providing a vehicle for people to get money directly into the community through organizations like the Rotary, who are well set up for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can tap in straight away. And the thing is, and we're talking about, I'm just imagining what a corner these guys must feel that they're in.
Oh, and imagine their kids and their wives, and
that this is the choice that they're making at such an alarming rate.
Yes.
And maybe something as simple as, because remember, survival is the basics. If we can help them with the food and survival and everything, and then it's like, okay, well, now let's look at the next level of that. How can I get help? How can I open up that conversation?
Right. That's it. And there are farm packages and things coming along, and there's counseling programs. If Maslow's need hierarchy, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it says the very first thing is survival, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have food on the table, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we're talking about something that's going to have an immediate effect.
It is. I've been to be honest with you, I've been in those places where, I've been out there traveling the world and got kind of strung out, and my friends would say, so I was in Ireland for quite a while, and it was a bit dodgy there when I was getting this company going, and I fed the company first, and I had some friends, and they love turnips in Ireland, right? And they would send me turnip money. Mm-hmm. And it made all the difference in the world, right?
Yeah. And we're talking about looking after the families and the people that are supplying our food.
That's it. And then this is the next generation. So these kids now, when they see their family being looked after by the community and supported in a positive way, when they get older, they're going to remember that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And just to give recognition to these organizations like the Rotaries and Country Women's and whatnot are out there, banging away selling little tractors and doing sausage grills and things, sharing a little, to get a little money for these people. This gives them recognition as well, and it also gives them some momentum and some horsepower.
Yeah.
So already they are reinvesting through this campaign because they didn't know they could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know that you're working very closely with, with the families and everything. And I mean, is there a story that you can share with me of someone, like a family that that we've been able to help?
Well, I just started this. I only learned about it 2 weeks ago, right? And we just put everything in our company to make this happen. However, I had an internet meeting with the Rotary crowd up in Brisbane, and I said, "You guys have good stories?" And they said, "Oh, we have some brilliant stories." And they told one of this family up in their area there in the east side, who had really had a rough time of last year. They still really don't have any money, but they're in an area where there are these pine trees. So what they did for Christmas is they went out and harvested pine trees and took them into town and gave them to all the people who helped them.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right? So this really does make a difference. And if I get very emotional about it because it's important,
I know. Because it's like, for this situation to be happening, and like I said, I can't even tell you enough how tough Australians are, and yes. for these men to be leaving their families in this way. The situation is so bad right now that we have to do something.
I know, it's crazy.
Why we're talking
absolutely
today.
Crazy. Yes, absolutely crazy. And you can imagine how the families feel after all that, right?
Yeah. So, okay, so we have the URL here, which is tuckerbox.org.
Yes, and that will take you to our website, and from there you can go to the donation thing. Yeah. We have a Facebook for this called Tuckerbox, and there's also the crowdfunding itself, which is Actually, we did that through an Australian outfit called Chuffed.
Right.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
So it's all very local, and it's an opportunity for Australians abroad to help their mates, and it's also an opportunity for people who've enjoyed these brilliant shows like Australia with Nicole Kidman and everything to say, you know what, we should do something for these people. We
Yeah.
can do that, right?
Yeah. And even like the smallest of donations is going to make a massive difference to a
It's
family.
not. It's not the amount. It's the numbers. We need people to get behind this. We're creating a. This we really do want to create a crowd because in doing this, when these numbers show up, people are saying not only to these families that they're important, but they're also saying to the government, "Hey, pay attention, right?
Mm.
Change how you're doing things. You
Yep.
know, we're not going to be just sitting back here and abused anymore. This is important. Don't
Yep.
hide it, right?" And then this will create its own media campaign as well. And once that happens, then these people will be helped immediately. And that's what this is all about. We can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, I encourage you, if you're watching the show, to go to that URL or click on the banner here to go through to the Tucker Box website, and also go to the Facebook page. The more activity we can have happening on that page, the more that we're
Yes,
creating awareness for the government in Australia to step in and help where they can, and awareness for everyone to think about, the people that are in their community that they could reach out and help.
exactly.
Um,
So the Facebook page and our website will be putting up the happy stories, right?
yes,
So those are going to be showing up very quickly
yeah,
in the next week or so. Because to me, it's about what happens. It's not about here's the bad thing that's going on, but here's the lovely stuff that happens when people do these things. That's what I
yeah.
really want to talk about.
And this is a project that any of you don't have to be Australian, anyone can get involved with that we will tangibly be able to
Absolutely.
trade with.
Absolutely. Australians have helped a lot of people in the world, and in a lot of places and a lot of times they've been the guys in the front, right?
Yeah,
So a little payback.
yeah. Galen, thank you so much for joining me today and helping us to really shine a light and help these families that really need our help. It's been awesome talking to you, and I'm sure that we'll be talking again soon.
Oh, Natalie, I'm so pleased that you did this. You just picked it up straight away, and that's beautiful. Thank you.
Absolutely. How can you not?
Well, there you go.
So guys,
Okay, so
thanks for joining us again today. Make sure you click on those banners, go to Facebook,
yes,
and please help the families as we can. And so until next time, remember to live large, choose
yes.
courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you.
Mm.